Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a topic that is literally on everyone's mind, protecting our cognitive health. Look, let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. We're all feeling the pinch of rising inflation, right? Groceries are way more expensive now, and it's so easy to look at those premium 5,000 yen health supplements on TV and think, man, I just can't afford to take care of my brain. But I am thrilled to tell you today that you absolutely can. In fact, some of the cheapest, most unassuming foods sitting right there on your local supermarket shelves can completely outsmart those expensive supplements.
So let me ask you this. Can a humble 150 yen vegetable actually save your memory? It's totally understandable if you've been watching your grocery bills just skyrocket and you're kind of giving up on optimizing your health. I get it. When everything costs 20 to 30% more than it did last year, brain health might feel like a total luxury. But as we're going to see today, and this is based on data from a doctor who has meticulously tracked over 3,000 patients, the answer to this question is a resounding yes.
Now, to put this into perspective, we really need to look at the sheer scale of what we're facing. According to Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, by the year 2025, 1 in 5 people over the age of 65 will have dementia. 1 in 5. That is a staggering statistic. But please, don't let that number get you down, because here is the incredibly hopeful pivot. Global research consistently shows that what you eat can lower your risk of developing dementia by up to a third. The power to literally change your brain's future is sitting right there on your plate.
And that brings us to the core theme for today's explainer. You really don't need to drop thousands of yen every single month on fancy, heavily marketed supplements. The true, scientifically backed brain-protecting power lies in everyday, super affordable foods that cost somewhere between 100 and 300 yen. We're going to break down exactly what these items are, how they work inside your brain, and the absolute best ways to eat them.
All right, let's kick off our countdown with number 5, the rust cleaners. We're talking about onions.
To understand why onions are so powerful, let me tell you about a 73-year-old woman named Yamada. She lived alone and, to stretch her pension, she was basically living on processed foods, bread, and supermarket deli items. Her daughter actually brought her to the clinic because she started doing things like buying the exact same tofu 3 or 4 times, just stuffing her fridge with it, completely unaware. Well, it turns out she was missing a crucial nutrient called quercetin. See, every time we breathe, we take in oxygen, and a tiny part of it turns into harmful, active oxygen. Think of this like rust on a bicycle left out in the rain. Our brain cells literally rust and take damage from this active oxygen over time. Quercetin, which is found all over in onions, is the ultimate microscopic cleaning crew that scrubs away this rust. In fact, a massive study from Finland found that people who eat high amounts of quercetin have a significantly lower risk of developing dementia.
But wait, onions actually have a second superpower, allicin. Yep, this is the exact same pungent compound that makes you bawl your eyes out when you're chopping them on the cutting board. While quercetin plays defense by cleaning up the rust, allicin plays offense. It prevents your blood from clotting and keeps it flowing nice and smoothly. And this is absolutely critical because, get this, your brain only accounts for about 2% of your body weight, but it greedily consumes 20% of your body's entire blood supply. If that blood flow stops or slows down, brain cells are instantly damaged.
So how do we actually get the most out of our onions? First, peel the skin as thinly as you possibly can. The quercetin is concentrated right there in those outer brownish layers. Second, and this is a big one, do not soak your onions in water. Allicin is water soluble. If you soak them, you are literally washing your brain protection right down the drain. If they're too spicy for you, just slice them and leave them exposed to the air on your counter for about 15 minutes. And finally, heat them lightly, or just drop them into your miso soup right before you turn off the stove. Just half a medium onion, which is about 50 grams a day, is all you need.
Moving right along to numbers 4 and 3 on our list, the daily defenders. These are green tea and eggs.
Let's start with green tea. There's this fascinating case of a 70-year-old woman named Tanaka. She drank green tea religiously every single day, while her husband only drank coffee. Well, when they reached their 70s, her husband started suffering from memory loss, while her mind remained incredibly sharp. It turns out green tea contains catechin, a really powerful antioxidant that actually prevents the buildup of amyloid beta. Now, amyloid beta is essentially sticky garbage that clutters up the brain and causes dementia. Meanwhile, the theanine in green tea acts as a stress reliever that heals the brain from the inside while boosting your focus. To get maximum catechin to clear out that garbage, brew it with 80-degree hot water in the morning. For the relaxing theanine effect, use 50-degree warm water in the afternoon.
Coming in at number 3, we have the ultimate nutritional powerhouse, eggs. I've got to tell you about 76-year-old Watanabe. He was a retired teacher who loved playing shogi, Japanese chess, but he started losing to his grandson because he just couldn't think a few steps ahead anymore. Well, it turns out, because he was terrified of high cholesterol, he was only eating 1 egg a week. By doing this, he was completely starving his brain of choline. Choline is the raw material for acetylcholine. Think of acetylcholine as the communication messenger between your brain cells. When you don't have enough of it, your brain's internal Wi-Fi drops, and you get those sudden, "Wait, what did I come in this room for?" moments.
So, we really need to bust this outdated myth right now. Back in 2015, dietary guidelines were actually updated to remove cholesterol limits for healthy individuals. The whole idea that dietary cholesterol directly causes heart disease has largely been debunked for the general population. At roughly 20 yen each, eggs are quite literally the most cost-effective brain fuel on the planet. The absolute best way to eat them is soft-boiled, which preserves the nutrients perfectly, and eat them at breakfast. Your brain is completely starved of energy after a night's sleep, and a morning egg flips that brain switch perfectly to on.
All right, we are down to our runner-up, number 2, the nighttime defender. We're talking about natto.
Take the case of 78-year-old Sato. Her husband was at a really high risk for strokes and was put on preventative medication, but he only ate bread and salad for dinner every night. What he was missing was nattokinase. This is a genuinely unique, one-of-a-kind enzyme. You literally won't find it in any other food in the world. As we age, our blood naturally gets thicker, and dangerous clots can form. If one of those clots gets stuck up in the brain, it causes a stroke. Nattokinase is essentially an exclusive cleaning contractor for your blood vessels. It actively patrols your bloodstream, finding and directly dissolving these dangerous clots. Plus, natto contains polyamines to keep your cells young, and since it's a fermented food, it heavily supports that vital gut-brain connection.
But here is where it gets incredibly strategic. When you eat natto at dinner, the clot-dissolving effects of nattokinase begin about 2 hours later. But crucially, that protection lasts for roughly 8 full hours. Why does this matter? Well, because dangerous strokes and blood clots most frequently happen in the deep of the night and early morning when we're sleeping and dehydrated. By eating natto at night, you are basically casting a protective shield over your brain precisely during its most vulnerable hours.
Okay, quick time out though, because I do need to deliver 2 very firm warnings here. First, do not put natto on piping hot rice. Nattokinase is destroyed at temperatures over 70 degrees Celsius. Just let your rice cool down a bit first or eat the natto from a separate dish. Second, and this is super critical, if you are taking the blood-thinning medication warfarin, the vitamin K in natto can actually block your medication from working. Always consult your doctor first if you are on blood thinners.
All right, drumroll please. We've made it to number 1, the Fortress Breaker.
That 400 yen frozen supermarket jewel is the blueberry. I want to introduce you to 72-year-old Suzuki. She was getting terribly anxious because she'd walk into a supermarket and completely forget why she was there, or she'd wander the house looking for the TV remote she was literally already holding in her hand. Her doctor recommended this exact food. Now, to understand why this is the climax of our explainer, we have to talk about the blood-brain barrier. Our brain has this very strict security checkpoint designed to keep toxins out. It's like a VIP bouncer. The problem is, it's so strict that it bounces a lot of those expensive 5,000 yen supplements right off. They never even reach your brain cells. But anthocyanin, that's the compound that gives blueberries that rich purple color, is an absolute superhero. It possesses the unique ability to easily break right through that strict security barrier, entering the brain directly to scrub off rust, repair damaged cells, and restore communication.
So, how should you eat them? Well, buy them frozen. Actually, scratch that. Definitely buy them frozen. This is a fascinating scientific quirk. The act of freezing actually increases their nutritional value. The freezing process breaks down those tough plant cell walls, allowing that superhero anthocyanin to be absorbed by your body so much more easily. Just scoop out 3 heaping tablespoons, which is about 70 to 100 grams, and mix them right into your morning yogurt. The lactic acid bacteria in the yogurt boosts the absorption of the anthocyanin even further. It is the absolute ultimate morning gut-brain dessert.
Finally, let's look at how you can protect your brain starting today.
Learning all this science is great, but the real takeaway here is that you have the agency to change your cognitive future. Look at this number, 150. For just about 150 yen a day, you can incorporate these foods into your life. That is less than the cost of a single canned coffee from a vending machine. Onions, green tea, eggs, natto, and frozen blueberries. You definitely do not need massive wealth to buy the ultimate brain-protecting diet.
There's a brilliant saying among doctors who treat this stuff. Today's food builds tomorrow's brain. It is never too late to start. And that is a promise from professionals who have watched thousands of patients actually reverse their cognitive decline. Whether you're 40, 60, or even 80 years old, your brain is dynamic, it's in there waiting for the right nutrients, and it will respond positively when you finally provide them.
So I'm going to leave you with a very direct question. What are you putting on your dinner plate tonight? Is it going to be a step toward a sharper, healthier brain? I highly encourage you to take that first step today. If you found this explainer valuable, please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you come back next week because we are going to tackle the other massive pillar of cognitive health, exactly how your sleep patterns impact your brain's aging process. Until then, keep learning, eat well, and I will see you next time.